Hello. It is Friday, the 10th of April. The time, as always, is 10 past tomorrow. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. Today I'm not just a talking head on screen. I'm going to break out of that mold and I'm actually going to do a live demo for you because no doubt you have been hearing all about AI agents. Maybe you have seen the headlines. Maybe people at work have been talking about Claude Code and other AI agents. Maybe you have been quietly wondering what the heck everyone is going on about. Well, today I'm actually going to show you live on screen because what's happened in January and February this year, 2026, with AI agents and most notably through Claude Code is as significant a moment as when ChatGPT first launched. I'm going to say that again. January and February this year, 2026, we went from 0 to 1 again. You know, ChatGPT was a 0 to 1 moment. This is another one, and I don't really say that lightly. So for the last few years, since that ChatGPT moment, AI for most of us has been a chatbot, right? You type something into it, it replies, you copy and paste bits of it to where you need it, but you have had to drive every single step of your work with these chatbots. And that's been super useful. I'm not dismissing that, and it still will remain a really powerful use of AI, especially for kind of the middle of that bell curve within your organization. But what I'm about to show you is a fundamentally different thing, and it's the new era of AI. So with agentic AI, a tool like Claude Code, you just give AI the goal. You give it your real brief with context and constraints and what success looks like, but it's now so powerful and can work autonomously for long periods of time that it reasons through the steps that it thinks are the best steps that are needed to take to reach your end objective. You don't have to do the step-by-step work with it anymore. And it makes those decisions autonomously, and it can use whatever software on your computer that you give it access to. Probably it can use it better than you can. It can browse and use the web also, probably better than you or I can. Clicks on buttons, fills out forms, etc. And it just keeps working until it delivers the result. It sits on top of your files and folders that you give it access to in your computer. And so what this becomes is this is delegation to AI. It's not co-working with AI through every single step of the job like we have for the past few years with chatbots. And so at 10 past tomorrow, Sam and I use this every day, all day. We have fundamentally, since January this year, rebuilt our business around Claude Code and autonomous agents who work independently with us and for us. So this is what I'm about to show you. This is what the leading edge of AI looks like right now. And so rather than talk about it, just let me show you. I'm going to give Claude Code a single brief for a fictional New Zealand honey company that I've created, and it's launching a product into China. I'm going to ask it to produce a complete communications pack, 6 different outputs across like 5 different types of output. You'll see what I mean in a minute, but I'm just going to give it one prompt and let's see what happens. Okay, so on screen you can see Claude Code. Now, Claude Code's made by Anthropic, the company who makes Claude. Up until January this year, Claude Code ran in a terminal on people's computers. And so what do terminals look like? They look like this, which is, you know, for most people, that's kind of, it's like the Matrix, you know. This is what held most people, including myself, back from using agents in the past. You had to use them directly within your command line interfaces, within your terminals, right? So, and you can still use them in that way, and they're super powerful used that way, but Claude is the first one to do this. You now see within Claude, we have 3 options. We can use just the normal chat interface. We can use co-work, which is a whole nother discussion for another time. This is, and that's why it's in the middle, it's kind of a middle ground between using Claude Code and using just the normal chat. This is probably where the majority of your organization will end up sitting, using co-work, which is an incredibly powerful platform. I'm going to show you the most powerful, which is Claude Code, right? So this, what you're seeing here is the alternate version of the terminal. The terminal sits in the background, but Claude Code have given us this beautiful, easy to use interface where we type into it just like we type into a normal chatbot. So let me get my prompt ready for you, just copying it off screen. Okay, so let's see what we've run here. Claude Code. As you know, Manuka Gold New Zealand is launching its premium reserve range into China, which is our first entry into that market. I need a complete launch communications pack produced today. Please deliver the following: an internal senior leadership team briefing document, which covers marketing position, key messages, timeline, distribution strategy, blah, 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 all saved as a company branded PDF. Can we have a customer announcement email drafted directly into Gmail for our existing wholesale partners? So you can see here, I've given Claude Code access to my Gmail. Crucially, it can only read my emails and produce drafts. It can't actually send emails. Can we have a complete social media content plan for LinkedIn and Instagram, covering 4 weeks of posts with draft copy, image briefs, and hashtag strategy, all saved as a PDF? Can we have a supporting image for the LinkedIn launch post, a branded PowerPoint presentation with speaker notes that the GM could talk to in Friday's leadership meeting? And can you make the LinkedIn post itself type live into the LinkedIn Composer ready for me to preview? So it's going to open all of those things on screen for us. Now, you can see here, it's starting just to do its work for us. And you can click in and you can see the work that's happening in the background. So Claude Code will write the code that it needs to do all of the work to produce the output for you. And you can, as I say, you can click in and watch that work happening. And you can watch it talking to itself, deciding autonomously on the steps that it needs to take to do the work for you. So I'm going to leave that on screen and you can watch this work in the background while I'm talking, because I want to explain why all of this matters so much and why I describe this arrival of real agents coming in January and February of this year. They arrived. And why was that such a big moment? Why do I call it this 0 to 1 moment? The equivalent of when we all saw ChatGPT for the first time. It's because for the last few years, the quality of what you got out of AI was directly proportional to your skill as a prompter, i.e. you had to do all of the thinking. You had to structure the request. Sorry, you can see the work starting to happen already. So I'll just let these things pop up on screen as I'm talking. I'll try and put them into the background for you. So what I was saying is, up until now with chatbots, you had to do all of the thinking. You had to structure the requests for every single step of the task, and you had to know what good looked like so you could steer it there, right? Okay, Claude's starting to write my email for me. So agents change that equation because, as you can see, there we go. Here's my Gmail draft. Let's put that on screen for you to see. Look, as you can see, it's happening right here. Agents change the equation. You describe the outcome and the context, and crucially, it has all your context because it sits on top of all of your folders and files that you give it access to. So now this is what's called context engineering. Your prompts needn't be so long and robust and try and give it everything that it needs in the prompt, because it has so much context from your files and folders and your work that you do, right? It can access all of that if you give it the right to. And so the agent then just handles all of the execution, which is the difference between like driving a car yourself, which is what chatbots are, and just jumping in an autonomous an autonomous taxi that takes us where we need to go, right? And I should say this part super clearly. I'm not a developer. I can't write any code, right? all my interactions with Claude Code are just plain English, right? I'm having a conversation with it. Everything that I build, I'm build by describing what I want, not by writing a single line of code. So this is accessible for you. There's no excuse not to engage with this by saying, oh, I'm not technical or I couldn't do that. That's not the game here. The game is not to let this pass you by. There is no excuse. There's no technical barrier here. This is for all of us. This is for knowledge workers who have domain expertise in the area and they can multiply it 5 to 10 times, right? This and that multiplier, that 5 to 10 times, that's what makes this a leadership issue, in my opinion, and not just a technology issue. The people at the leading edge of this, and I include myself and Sam here, we are operating at 5 to 10 times our previous capability. Let me be super clear about that. 5 to 10 times, not 5 to 10%. We have 5 to 10 of us because of this technology, which you're watching working in the background. So if the curious people in your organization, the ones who are exploring this in their own time, if they're already operating at multiples of everyone else in their team, and I can assure you there are people doing this in your organization, then the gap between the AI capable individuals and everybody else is widening every week. And that is not something you solve with an AI policy. It's actually a strategic problem, and I'll come back to that later in this essay, right? My point is this is not coming. This is not a future problem. It's here, or problem, opportunity. It's here, and this version of Claude Code that I'm using today is dramatically more capable than even what existed 2 months ago, right? And 2 months in the future, it'll be even more capable again. This trajectory is super steep and it's accelerating, everyone. Okay, so let's see what has actually come up, shall we? We have got our social media content plan all branded in our super ugly green and gold brand guidelines for our company. We've got our hashtag strategy, our LinkedIn and Instagram. We've got week 1, 2. Here's our LinkedIn post. Here's our Instagram, etc., etc. So we've got a 4-week social media plan. Let's get rid of that. We have our senior leadership team briefing document. Now you can see this is not perfect. It seems like our logo has failed to load in there. I'll have to go back and touch that up. But we've got an executive summary for our senior leadership team. I'd have to obviously correct this formatting. But you can see this is the equivalent of what I would hope for from top senior leaders in terms of creating our briefing. Regulatory requirements, timelines, etc., etc. What else have we got here? We have, as I've said, we have our email, which is going out to all of our external stakeholders and investors, letting them know exactly what's happening. You can see this is written in a human tone of voice. This is not robotic. This does not sound like AI. And crucially, as I said, this sits here waiting for my input. Claude Code does not have the ability to send emails. And I've said that. Some people do give it the ability. I prefer to have it this way, so I have quality control. And that's actually something that I would like to mention. Are all of these outputs ready to go out of the box? No. Just like with all AI content that we've produced in the past with chatbots, this will be 80, 90, 95% ready to go, but we as the humans retain agency, retain responsibility as well. So it's still on me to check all of this information, refine it, improve it, and be that final quality gate before I send it out the door. Perfect example just popped up on screen. There's no way I can send this PDF strategy doc straight out of the box. It obviously needs some formatting control. I need to go through and check that all of the copy is to my liking. But as you can see, Claude Code has taken me a long way down the path in terms of doing the doing for me. It's created this beautiful 6-slide slide deck with speaker notes that I can use as part of my launch presentation. Let's just check back and see. So Claude Code has come back and said, I've delivered all 6 outputs for you. Here's your briefing PDF for your senior leadership team. Gmail draft, we've seen that. We've seen the social media content plan. Here is our LinkedIn image for my LinkedIn post. PowerPoint presentation, you have seen. LinkedIn Composer, have we seen that on screen? Or has that happened somewhere else? We haven't seen the LinkedIn post yet. Can you please make sure that's opened on screen? Okay, so while that happens, let me go back and say, I as the human have to review this, right? The bottleneck now, once we get to the point where agents are doing work with us and for us, and delegation becomes the key skill rather than step by step doing the work with your AI. The bottleneck now becomes, and this is super important, the bottleneck is judgment, human judgment and taste and expertise. Those are the things that humans are excellent at. And it's the thing that still, even the agentic systems like Claude Code cannot reproduce. Now, unfortunately, Claude Code is having trouble opening Chrome and writing the LinkedIn post for me. So let's see. It's given it to me as a text file. So I can have, here's my text file, LinkedIn post that I can go and put straight into my LinkedIn account, and I'll also upload this 100% AI generated image as well. Okay, so coming back to wrap this all up, everybody, if you have been wondering whether AI agents are real or whether they're hype, you've seen it. They have been hype all the way through 2025, half of 2024. People started talking about agents. Back then, they were just hype. The agents weren't robust enough. They weren't powerful enough to deliver on the hype. Now they are. It's real, and it's available right now for the price of your Claude subscription or the price of the subscriptions, right? So my big question that I wanted to come back to earlier is, if the AI curious people in your organizations, the people who are exploring this stuff in their own time, if they're already operating at 5 to 10 multiples of everyone else around them, and they are, then as I said, the gap between those AI capable individuals and everyone else is widening week by week. And this is a strategic opportunity, but it's also a strategic challenge for organizations, because it means you need to answer the questions. Firstly, who might be doing this already within your organization? Who's doing their 40 hours in 5 to 10 hours of actual work time? And when they're doing that, who's accruing the benefits of that? Is it them as individuals? Or are they sharing their wins openly with their manager and colleagues? If they're not sharing, if they're doing it in the shadows, then the benefit of this technology is going to the individual, not the organization. But if they are sharing the wins openly, then that presents a new challenge, because what happens when they start asking for 5 to 10 times the pay because they're doing 5 to 10 times the work of their colleagues who are still just tinkering with Copilot to change the tone of voice of one of their emails? That's a big question to be wrestling with. So whether you are the person who's trying agentic platforms like Claude Code, or whether you are the leader who needs to try and understand what does this mean when your team already has got there, the window for getting ahead of this is here and it's right now, okay? Thanks everybody, hope you enjoyed it. Slightly messier than usual because of the live demo element, but I hope that was powerful for you. I hope you now see really clearly agentic AI is here, it's powerful, it is the new paradigm. See you all next week.